So you've probably already seen Kanye's new music video for his song, which for the purposes of this video, not getting demonetized, we're going to call HH. This had a pretty big cultural effect and was pretty polarizing in terms of like whether or not people supported it, whether people hated it, etc. But the thing to keep in mind here is that this had nearly zero effect in comparison to how a song like this would have been received just a few years ago. Because now we are living in the age of outrage. Everyone is trying to do something outrageous and offensive all of the time because they understand that it will get them views on social media. And from those views, they can turn that attention into revenue. All it requires is someone to be shameless enough to see how quickly they can expedite the race to the bottom. And voila, if they can pull that off, they have a viable marketing strategy. I would know about this because I built an entire 2 million follower fan base off of doing exactly this, which we'll get to a little bit later in this video. Now, why is this song trending in the first place? Because with this song, there are two camps of people. The first camp of people are defending Kanye by saying the song is simply a song about his pain that he's experienced as a result of his life blowing up over the last couple of years. The lyrics are meant to be satirical in a way that is supposed to troll society because that's what he does. He's an artist. He has to push the bounds artistically to see how uncomfortable he can make society. That is what makes his art great. Now, the other camp of people are the ones who were just saying, no, this is clearly anti-Semitic. And within that second camp, there are people who actually support the fact that this is anti-Semitic and other people who are straight up horrified at what Kanye is doing. A good example of people who are in the latter camp are people like Piers Morgan, who are saying, hey, this is wrong, this is disgusting, Kanye has completely lost it, and he should be banned off of X. Regardless of which camp you're in, the fact that you have an opinion on this video at all is why this song has gone viral in the first place. In order for something to get views in this day and age, it just needs to be polarizing. It needs to push people in the direction of having an opinion on it. Because if someone has an opinion, they share that opinion online. They share that opinion and the video itself with their friends. They talk about the video with their friends in their personal day-to-day conversations. But let's start off by talking about the first camp of people we just discussed. The people who think that this is simply an expression of Kanye's pain. At the end of the day, Kanye's grievances in life are very real and they're completely legitimate. Over the last couple of years, this guy has lost massive parts of his business. He's gotten a divorce. He's been put in a place where he has restricted access to his children. And all of this is in the context of him being completely unmedicated for his bipolar 1. And if you know anything about bipolar 1, if you leave people like this with this condition unmedicated, they're just always manic all of the time, which gives them the feeling of megalomania. They literally think that they can see through reality, that they're basically the king of existence. And if all of this wasn't bad enough, it's been confirmed by several sources that he is a hardcore nitrous addict, which means that he's inhaling this stuff pretty much all day, every day. Like, really, please just think about this, right? If you were to see one of your friends be in this same position, you would feel so sad. And you would be trying to do what you can in order to help them if they wanted to help themselves. As a result of everything that I just said, it is totally valid for him to try and express this pain via his art. He is an artist at the end of the day, and people are connecting with the art on some level because they see themselves with similar pain to Kanye. Being isolated, lashing out at the world by saying racist, edgy stuff online. Like, I think if you're watching my video right now, it's safe to say that you and I have been in this exact same place at one time or another. However, Kanye's response mechanism to all of this is still insufficient because he has decided that all of his problems in his life are because of the Jews and because other people don't understand him. And ultimately, he's chosen this projection of his problem onto others because it is easier than doing the real work to put his life back together, getting medicated, getting himself to a place where he's psychologically stable enough to be around his children while being a good influence on them, while also co-parenting responsibly with his ex-wife. Like, these are the things that require a person to give everything that they have in order to achieve, because these are not easy things to pull off. And when I say all of this, I say it with empathy because I'm speaking from experience here. Because back in 2020, I lost my job to COVID. I lost my marriage. I lost my two most significant friendships in my life. I lost my house. I lost my dog. I lost my dad 18 months prior to all of this happening. And honestly, I went through a period of life as a result of all of this where I became an edgelord and an alcoholic in order to cope with everything falling apart. However, when you look at someone who was in my type of situation, or if you have been in this type of situation in yourself where your entire life has fallen apart, the question you have to ask yourself is whether or not you remain an addict and an edgelord is an appropriate response to the pain that you are feeling. Is it a masculine response? Is it an honorable response? When life falls apart, you and I know the answer is a resounding no. The honorable thing to do is to roll down to the bottom of the hill, get back up, dust yourself off, and start walking up the hill again. It is very clear here that Kanye is not up to the task of any of this because he's chosen what is expedient and what allows him to shirk responsibility for the choices he's made in his life instead of truly being a man and entering the forest where it is darkest in genuine, unironic pursuit of what he wants most in the world. Because the fact of the matter is that creating art or intellectualizing your problems is a lot easier than taking legitimate action in life. And Kanye has very clearly chosen the easy road here. Even in the realm of marketing products and selling products by being as controversial as you possibly can because you know it gets clicks. Like, this is the laziest business practice of all time. Believe me, I know. I built Anti-Prophet by doing exactly this. It is literally the equivalent of a woman going to a bar and bragging about the fact that she's able to, night after night, sleep with the first man that she speaks to. It's not impressive. All you're doing is you're exploiting a current hole in the human psyche at your own expense. Building out a real marketing machine that genuinely get healthy people excited for what it is that you do and what it is that you sell is a Herculean task that requires real effort, real skill, and real ingenuity. In short, it is hard and requires action. And worse yet, the company you attract by putting out this type of art is the worst of the worst company that you could possibly surround yourself with. Because think about the type of people that are coming out and defending Kanye. It is literally the decrepit of society. All of these people are starting to band together because they believe society has robbed them of something that they're rightfully owed when nothing of the sort is true. And when I say this, I'm talking about Candace Owens, I'm talking about Azalea Banks, I'm talking about Nick Fuentes, all of these people that have rightfully been pushed out of society because they're fringe. Like, they've all realized that if they band together, it makes them nearly immune from criticism. And the way that they're centralizing power online is via rage bait content, because rage bait content makes them relevant. Because the majority of society thinks that views and likes are all that matter in life. And if you're able to generate likes and views, that means you're awesome and successful and morally right. But the real fact is that these artists are simply narcissists who need constant attention and nothing more. At the beginning of this video, we talked about how there are two camps of people. People who thought the song was just a cry of pain on the side of Kanye, and people who think that he is just straight up anti-Semitic. And honestly, when it comes to his song, HH, I don't think that this is an either or situation. I think it's honestly, yes, it's both. Because the thing you need to keep in mind here is that when you are an artist, more specifically a musician, especially a musician that works with lyrics, the backdrop that you choose in order to communicate the message that you have to share with the world usually says more about the artist than the actual words in the song. Now, what do I mean by this? An example of this is people can create love songs in order to communicate political messages. You see Bob Dylan doing this kind of thing in his early career. On the other side of the spectrum, rappers can come in and write really vulgar rap songs in an attempt to communicate a message regarding something like imposter syndrome. Like, both of these backgrounds can be used in order to communicate a more singular message, but just because the love song or the really vulgar rap song is simply the backdrop, it doesn't mean that the backdrop is completely irrelevant. In fact, I would argue that the backdrop tells us more about the actual person than the specific message of the actual song, because if there is an artist who has made a career out of being incredibly offensive and vulgar with the type of rap that they create, like a group like the Ying Yang Twins or something like that, the fact that they have chosen that style of music is probably a pretty good indication that these people are kind of disasters in their personal life. On the other hand, if someone is choosing a regular love ballad in order to communicate a more specific message, it's usually a pretty good indication that that person has chosen a pretty safe corporate music career, which says things about your personality, not just as a musician, but as a human being, because it shows that you're more adverse to risk, that you care deeply about what people think of you, because your entire image is constructed inside of a corporate boardroom in order to drive sales. Now, getting back to the case of Kanye, the fact that he has chosen the backdrop of anti-Semitism in order to communicate a message that has to do with depression and pain, to me, indicates that the dude is just anti-Semitic. He legitimately hates Jews because the background of a song tells you more about the person than the actual message. And again, I feel like I am specifically able to speak on this topic in a way that a lot of people aren't because, again, I built out an entire brand doing this entire thing. A good example of this is I once created a video that was entitled "Women Are Full of Shit." And even the thumbnail of the video was entitled "Women Are Full of Shit." Now, if you watch that video for literally 3 seconds, you realize that right after I start the video by saying women are full of shit, I say the words, but at the same time, men are completely full of shit as well. And in the rest of the video, I go on to say that because men and women are equally full of shit, we got to work together because men and women working together is the only way that we can really make society work over the long term, blah, blah, blah. Pretty basic message. But the fact that I chose to frame that video around the statement, women are full of shit, was intentional, and it was meant to appeal to a certain crowd. The crowd that identifies with a video like that are men who genuinely think that women are full of shit and that women need to get down off of their pedestal and roll around in the mud with men instead of pretending that they are holier than thou. And I don't know if you've been in a serious relationship before, but if you are approaching a disagreement with your partner in a serious relationship who is a woman, where you are trying to get her to come down to your level instead of trying to both elevate yourselves up in order to fix a problem, my brother in Christ, you are setting yourself up for a lot of pain in what is going to be a very, very toxic relationship. So you see, even with a single short form video that I entitled "Women Are Full of Shit," there's all of this unsaid information where the audience needs to fill in the gaps of what I'm saying with their pre-existing beliefs. If their pre-existing beliefs are saying, hey, women are full of shit, even if my video is trying to get across a good message, it doesn't matter because the background that I have used in order to put the message forward has clouded the mind of the person watching the video to such a degree that they can't even engage with the healthy parts of the message that I'm trying to put forth. And my argument here is that that background that I chose for that video reflected more about me and my beliefs at that time, if I'm being real with myself, than this so-called good message about men and women being full of shit. I chose that framing very specifically because during that period of life, I was very angry with women, which is why I would argue that Kanye's new song is not about seeking truth. It's not about promoting a message that benefits humanity, that explores depression and pain in order to transcend it. The point of this song is for him to project his pain onto other people instead of him doing the hard work that he needs to do in order to get his life back, his career back, and get his family back, which as a man should be the main priority in his life. And the fact that he is not doing everything within his power to get his children back is an indication of the moral rot inside of this individual's brain. And the fact that everyone is coming to this man's defense saying that his pain is legitimate and this art is such an awesome troll to the libs and to the normies is an indication of how much our society favors the easy path of quote unquote creating art or quote unquote intellectualizing your pain instead of actually taking action to fix our own lives, which has resulted in our society becoming a society of anti-action. And the question here is this: what kind of society do you think comes forth as a result of people being lazy, not taking action, and actively choosing to be anti-action, making fun of other people around them who choose to take the hard road? Do you think this sets up for a future of success societally? Does a song like HH push us farther in the direction of creating a world where we can focus more on our families, our relationships, taking action, and doing the hard work we need to do in order to create the life we want for ourselves? Or does it push us farther in the direction of thinking the world needs to be burned down to the ground, if for no other reason, so that the people around us understand and feel our pain? If your conclusion here is that the song is meant to accomplish the latter rather than the former, then the question you've got to ask yourself is whether or not you want to be part of the crowd who wants to create a society of real responsible action, or if you want to associate with the crowd who wants to burn everything down to the ground.